I'm with Dr. Leon Meijer from Christians for Israel International. Now, Dr. Leon, what is Christians for Israel International?
Well, Christians for Israel is an organization which started about 45 years ago in the Netherlands by a businessman who sold his business and then started a foundation and helping to help Christians understand that when the Bible talks about Israel, it means Israel. It doesn't mean the church. And the work grew, and now we have about branches in 40 different countries all over the world.
Wow, so you spread over quite a lot. How many supporters do you have?
Well, it depends. So it depends on the country. Like here in Holland, I think it's about 200,000 or something. Germany, the same. Austria, I think a little bit less. It's a smaller country. But we are also in New Zealand, Australia, Laos, Philippines, India. So all in all, it's an estimated guess, 500,000, a million people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what sort of things do you do as an organization?
Well, so we started with helping Christians understand when they read the Bible, and it talks a lot about Israel. So wait a minute, what does this Israel mean? So we organize conferences. We have speakers who helps people understand theologically, biblically. So that's one of the things. We distribute books about the subject, about misconceptions about Israel. And then, we are on social media, YouTube, Instagram, these kind of things. And then, when people start to understand what it is about Israel, it's about God's faithfulness. It's we're not the ones running around with stars of David in our eyes, but it says something about the God who we are serving as Christians. He's a faithful God, also to me. Just if I look how he is still faithful to his people Israel, he is the God who is also faithful to me. So when people start to understand that, they have a tendency to get involved. So prayer for Israel and prayer for the Jewish people. And they want to add something, to do something. So we sponsor projects both in Israel, humanitarian projects like a soup kitchen or a children's home, but also Aliyah, the return of the Jews. We have someone working full time in Ukraine, helping Jewish people to go when they have all the documents ready to move back to the land of their ancestors, to move back to Israel. So these kind of things we also support.
Is there a lot of ignorance in the church at the moment when it comes to Israel?
It's a bit sad. It's like the ignorance is growing. Yes, there is an ignorance. And we also have sometimes a difficulty that when people hear the name Christians for Israel, I always have to explain our name is not Christians for Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Our name is not Christians for the government of Israel. No, when there are new elections in Israel, there is new government, we are still Christians for Israel. So our sympathy or support of Israel is not based on political decisions, it's based on the Bible. And sometimes churches have a difficulty dividing the two. So when we come in and they say, well, be careful because, people might have different opinions about Israel. Yes, we might have different opinions about the decisions of an Israeli government. But if we go back to the Bible and see that God made a covenant with Abraham, continuing until this day, he brought his people back, the prophecies, he brought them back to the land of Israel. That is what we try to teach. And yes, there is sometimes, well, both there is ignorance and there is an hesitation or a fear among pastors to have this polarization in your church.
Now you're bringing biblical understanding in the church. Is there a big battle with replacement theology?
Yes, there is a big battle with replacement theology. That's one thing. We are Israel, or the church has become Israel. There's another replacement theology which says all prophecies have been fulfilled in Jesus. Well, there is a prophecy about that the people of Israel will return from the land of the north and the land of the south, and we see it happening before our eyes. So, to my opinion, that was not fulfilled in Jesus. That was a specific prophecy for a specific people, and we see God's dealing through history with his people.
So we're seeing prophecy being fulfilled today because we're seeing a rise in anti-Semitism, which is causing the Jews to want to come back to Israel from the north, the south, the east, and the west.
The Bible says that he will send out fishermen and in the later days hunters.
Mm.
So fishermen is collecting the people come back, and sometimes we see the hunters coming, chasing the people back to Israel. So yes, the rising anti-Semitism might be a sign of hunters on the rise. Yeah. No, I'm not pinpointing this is it and this is it.
Yeah.
We read the Bible and we look to the context, we look to society today and say, well, it. I get the feeling that
It's happening. Yeah. Now you're based in the Netherlands. How big a problem is anti-Semitism in the Netherlands? We saw the Israeli soccer fans being attacked in Amsterdam. So how big of a problem is anti-Semitism where you're at?
it is a growing problem. And if I talk to Jewish friends, I'm wearing a Star of David around my neck. But I know my Jewish friends are not doing it anymore because they could be harassed in the train or in the bus. They don't wear the kippah. They wear a baseball cap because it's not safe to go on the streets with your kippah, especially in Amsterdam or the big cities. And it has, since the 7th of October, it was there. And, we shouldn't ignore that it was there already. But after the 7th of October 23, it really increased and increased. So it's on the rise. And sometimes when I talk to friends and I talk to people from Israel, they say, well, it's because of the Muslim immigration you have in your country. Well, yes, that it's also being spread by radical Muslims. But not only that, we see it very much on the left politics.
Mm.
Extinction Rebellion. They are demonstrating outside our building almost every week because they don't agree with us and they think we should disappear. So, and then we are Christians. So it's both. It's both the left politics plus the Muslim immigration.
So are you actually seeing things for you as well? Has your offices and things been attacked because of the situation? What's happened to you?
Yeah, our office has been vandalized, spray painted the last 2 years several times. And, they put the posters on our windows saying Christians for genocide and these kind of things. Spray painted. We have regular demonstrations outside. So the police told us that, we can't all the time protect you. So you have to erase a fence around your building. And so we did. We have now a 3-meter high electric fence around the building. And because of the fence, the bomb attack didn't go as planned, what we think. They couldn't get close to the building, so the bomb exploded at the fence, which had some minimal damage. It's an open fence, you can't get through it, but the blast could get through it. The police said if the bomb had gone off at your entrance, all the windows would have been shattered and a fire would have been broken out in your building. So at first I thought, shouldn't we downplay? Is it not just, some teenager who threw some fireworks? No, it's much more than that. The explosion was heard 10 kilometers away. So, yeah. So this is the latest. But because of the fence, we have been lucky and being protected.
Could that bomber actually killed someone, and have they actually caught anybody for this? Do they know who it was?
No, we have cameras, so we see, we have a great description. Black clothes, hoodie, fat bike. So, but it comes in a pattern. The attack was claimed by this Iranian-backed organization who did the same at the synagogue in Rotterdam, at the Jewish school in Amsterdam, and at our place. And also, the timing, Good Friday, Easter, for Christians, it has a symbolic meaning also that at those days, you plan to attack us.
Does this make you even more determined to stand with the nation of Israel because you're getting the attacks in the same way that Israel gets attacked all the time?
True. We won't be intimidated and we are determined to go on. We got a lot of messages out of Israel from friends saying, "Oh, we stand with you." And we thought, it feels so embarrassing. They are hiding 10 times a day in a bomb shelter from the bombs from Iran, and then they feel sorry for us. So, it's not nice, and we have to be careful in what we do, but it's nothing compared to what the people in Israel are experiencing.
So have you actually changed sort of your movements and things like this because of this?
What's happening is we have a lot of events outside of our building. In church building, we rent halls for concerts, for lectures, and each time we decide, well, do we need security at this event, or what kind of level of security? So yes, that's something we have to take into account. And also what's happening is that maybe because of what happened, then sometimes churches says, well, we cancel your event because we don't want to get any of those things happening on our premises. So we are affected in this way, and we have to take care. We gather people, so we have to be wise and security wise. We don't want anyone to get harmed by people who are doing this. So we are on the alert.
Does it feel like a spiritual battle when you're fighting these things?
it is a spiritual battle because we know it's not against us as a person. It's because something we believe in and we express. So wait a minute, why do we bother Iran? Why do we bother people who think that we should not believe in the Bible or in the words of the Bible? So the attack is against our beliefs. So it is a spiritual battle.
Does it feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy at the moment because people are attacking you because you support Israel, but if you were supporting Iran or anything like that, you probably wouldn't get touched.
It's a little bit mind blowing how fast this whole movement of supporting Gaza, we have the LH community supporting Gaza. And we all know that if you are gay in Gaza, you'll be killed.
Mm.
So, wait a minute, who are you supporting and why are you supporting? Suffering people wherever they are, Palestinians, Israeli, is a horrible thing. And our sympathy should go out to people who are suffering. But we do have freedom of expression and we do have freedom of thought. So please, in a democracy, let's talk instead of demonstrate against each other and start listening to one another.
You do support Aliyah, so is this maybe a time for Jews to actually leave Europe and start coming home?
Well, true. And I know that one of my Jewish friends said every Friday at the Sabbath dinner in every Jewish home in Holland, the discussion is not if we will go to Israel, but when we will go to Israel. But then he said something a bit scary to me. He said, well, I have a country I can go to. You don't. And then the feeling comes, I can be quiet, but do I want to live in a country which is heading towards a state where I can't express my opinion anymore? So I think we need to stand up. So all those who believe in the Bible, who believe in the Word of God, and who see this as a spiritual battle, should not be quiet anymore because we still have a chance to speak out.
Does this feel really shocking to you because of what you've actually been through in the past? Nazis came in and overtook Holland. You saw people like Anne Frank and all of these sort of things. So there's a history of what happened with Nazism. Do you think it's actually getting as bad as that today? And does it shock you that maybe we haven't actually learned anything?
It is shocking. It is shocking in the way that I often thought, how could the people be led so astray as they did in Nazi Germany? But looking around Holland at this moment, looking at all the media, in Nazi Germany, they had propaganda and everyone got a radio and they filled the minds of the people with propaganda the way they needed to think. If I turn on the Dutch TV nowadays, I think it gives me a kind of the goosebumps. Am I back in the 30s again? Am I listening to propaganda? It's like a one-sided narrative being fed through the media. So it's a bit scary because it does remind, if you read the history books, this is what happened in Nazi Germany. This is how they grew, and this is how a whole people started to believe that the Jews should have been the scapegoat for everything. Well, it seems as if we are heading to that direction again. And maybe they won't say the Jews are the problem, but they do say Israel is the problem of all the problems in the world.
And Zionism as well, they say.
Zionism, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone told me, he said, it's like if you distinguish between Jews and Zionism, and you said, no, I'm not against Jews, I'm against Zionism. It's like a homeless guy said, I have sympathy for the homeless guy, but as soon as he gets a house, I don't have any sympathy with him anymore.
Yeah.
Well, this is why, I'm in favor of the Jews, but as soon as he wants to have a country, I'm against him.
Now you support projects in Israel. Tell us about some of the projects that you're supporting in Israel.
Well, we support a soup kitchen in Jerusalem, so that's for the people who are having a hard time financially, so they'll get food. There is the Jaffa project in Tel Aviv, where they help young people who live in poverty or the parents can't afford education or sports. So we support that. You can make Aliyah. When you make Aliyah, for example, out of the Ukraine, you come into Israel, but then the next phase is integrating, finding a job. We support the project which is called First Home in the Homeland. The people can live on a kibbutz for a year, Usually families with children, so the children can go to school, the parents can learn, and they can slowly start to integrate and find a job. This whole program is funded by us.
And you also help disability, and do you help Holocaust survivors as well?
Yes, we help Holocaust survivors, and I think especially our German branch, which, because of their history, makes sense. They are very much funding this project, cafes for Holocaust survivors who come together, who get care and comfort, and also, when they need medical care, those are being sponsored.
Why do you support Israel personally?
I think it's a very good question. It's a very good question. I think when I started reading the Bible and I started seeing that all the promises for Israel is a plan of God, that Jesus was not just a man, God in a man who came to earth, but he came out of a Jewish nation. God had a plan how to save us, and he saved us through a Jewish nation which delivered us a Jewish Messiah. And it enriched my faith so much to look at the Seder table with Pesach and to know that Jesus used a Jewish meal to institute the the supper, using Jewish symbols. So when I start reading it and then start understanding it, how Jewish tradition formed my Christian belief, it enriched my faith. And it sometimes let God puts, sometimes God calls someone to go to Africa and to spread the gospel, and sometimes God tells you, I want you to get involved in Israel and to support my people. So I've lived in Israel for 8 years. I did my PhD at the Technion in the north of Israel. Came back to Holland and still find a way to deal and to support Israel.
What is your prayer for Israel at this time?
Always pray the peace of Jerusalem. The Bible tells me I need to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, but I pray for comfort for the people. After 2.5 years in a war, people are tired. We see every day soldiers are still being killed, young people. I have children in that age myself. It's devastating for a parent when you lose a child. So I pray for comfort and rest, and I do hope that years will be coming when the nation of Israel will experience much more rest at its border and peace with its neighbors.
Well, Dr. Leon, thank you very much for sharing today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.